Two guys of Minnesota sports flowing in their veins. Mackey and Judd on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
Oh, wow. I'm on my A game. That is the wrong button. Let's try this one.
Oh.
We are not on the clock.
Wow.
Well, we are on the clock for Monday Statements on Minnesota Sports with Mackey and Judd.
Oh, yeah.
So glad we brought this back. The audience was pushing for us to bring this back after a hiatus, and I think it's probably just here to stay now year-round. Monday Statements, Minnesota Sports with Mackey and Judd. Who wants to go first? Let's do some Vikings here off the top. Who wants to fire? I have one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Want me to start?
Or Dex, yeah.
Go ahead and fire. I have a Vikings one, but I would rather. I think it's more of a good 2nd and 5 first down play than it is the first play off the game, if that makes sense.
I got a 1st and 10 play for you here.
All right.
Statement number 1. This is the most fun I've had watching Vikings football since 2009. There's been some fun 2017 was fun, although Case Keenum was so hard to buy into this journeyman backup, has never been effective, and it was a magic carpet ride. It's easier to buy in when the quarterback that's performing at this level was not that long ago a top 3 overall pick who is supposed to perform this way. And the defense, I know the second half got wonky yesterday, but that defense is so hard to play against. It's fast. They've got pass rushers all over the place. They're mostly really well coached, the Vikings. And this 4-0 start, too, it's not like 2022 when you got off to a hot start and yet you had like a negative point differential when you look up at the end of the year. The Vikings are a plus 57, which is tied with the New Orleans Saints for the best point differential in the NFL. The next closest is, I think, the Seahawks at plus 30. They haven't played anyone until they played Detroit tonight. And the Saints, we have found out, as expected, are actually kind of frauds because after winning their first 2 games in blowout fashion, they've now lost 2 consecutive games. So, man, everything put together, the first 4 games, this is the most fun I have had watching Vikings football since the Brett Favre season in 2009.
I think that's fair. And the thing about this, too, is, it's incredible when you have the talent and the coaching. Now, I will say this. The Keenum season, I think the guy that we forget about way too much is Pat Shurmur, the OC, had a phenomenal year. Like, he had a phenomenal year calling plays for Case. That's one of the best seasons I've seen for a straight-up Vikings OC that I can think of. Like, he took that offense, and I can't remember if there were any games, aside from the debacle at the end of the season, that we were like, what was that call all about? So he gets a lot of credit, and that did turn fun. But yeah, and the great thing about this is 4-0. I mean, it is completely unexpected because, I mean, come on. We all thought, okay, McCarthy comes back in 2025. This team's going to be set to open its window. But this is shaping up just as a ton of fun as well, because it feels like the expectations are still, I mean, they're growing, but the expectations of what they're doing now has been, wow. And the defense, for the most part, has been wow. So, yeah, I think this team is a ton of fun. And you know what? The common thread is, you guys, as O'Connell talks about, and I asked him about this on Friday, they all love football.
They do. They do all love football.
I said, what does that mean? I said, you talk about that. You drop that a lot. What does that mean to you? And he gave a great response about guys that love the grind, that they love Wednesdays. I mean, it's absolutely true. But that's the thing, is they've got a lot of guys that love football. And you can have talent, but if you don't love football, it always feels like you're probably going to fall short.
Yeah, they love Wednesdays. Some of them even love Tuesdays. I'll bet you.
Football! Why? Yeah, why? Football! Why? What was the point of that? Why'd you have to do that?
By the way, the Vikings right now, I'm on the New York Times playoff odds report.
Yeah. And
they've updated this after the teams have played yesterday. So the Chiefs have the highest percentage chance to make the playoffs, a 96% chance to make the playoffs at 4-0. The Vikings have an 89% chance to make the playoffs, according to The Athletic and the New York Times, which is the second highest postseason odds. Now, I know that some of you who are also Twins fans will be quick to point out, don't get too comfortable when your favorite sports team has a 90 to 95% chance to make the playoffs.
True.
It doesn't guarantee anything. So that is true. But 89% chance to make the playoffs, 58% chance to win the division, 11% chance, which is the second highest percentage, by the way, behind just the Chiefs, to win the whole bleeping thing. Projected record, 11-6. Which so they would have to go just 7-6, and they have some hard games on their schedule. So 2 against the Lions,
They've won
Packers
some more
are,
games. Yeah.
But if that's the beauty of a 4-0 start.
Right.
Let's say you sputter a little bit, and let's say you sputter and you go 6-7 down the stretch. Well, you're 10-7, and you're almost certainly in the playoffs with a 10-7 record, right? So looking pretty good.
My statement, I'll go next year. My next statement is on the Vikings is the Vikings cornerbacks, not nearly as bad as we thought. Not nearly as bad as we thought. The Vikings went in very thin at this position, and losing Mekhi Blackman early in training camp, that was a huge buzzkill, and you had to patchwork some stuff. You bring in Stephon Gilmore, who's a former defensive player of the league, but how much does he have left? You bring in Shaq Griffin. Was really good 2 years ago, but is cut after a big contract. I don't know. That you might have some quarterbacks just picking apart this Vikings defense. And so far, and this is probably more of a ripple effect of how good the Flores scheme is to show off how good these cornerbacks can be. But I thought this would be by far the Vikings' weakest position group and would cost them games. And yes, Byron Murphy had an up and down. He makes a big interception, but also he got torched on a play for a touchdown yesterday. I actually think, collectively, the Vikings cornerback room is a lot better than we thought. And it might be the most surprising group of them all, considering that they had these veterans who are kind of maybe over the hill. It's also just very, very difficult to be a cornerback in today's NFL and to play that position like near perfectly. It's impossible. And so far through 4 games, and by the way, you've played Brock Purdy, you've played C.J. Stroud. I know Jordan Love was on one leg, but he also made some insanely good throws. The cornerback room, not nearly as bad as we thought it was going to be.
Dude, Stephon Gilmore has been just a perfect...
They don't really throw at him, right? Like, I'm not sure what the PFF grades say.
Let's check him.
Sunday's game, but it feels like he is not being by any means consistently targeted.
Let me check. Let me look
Griffin made some plays. I agree with you, Dex. The Byron Murphy Jr. experience can prove to be at times frightening. Very hit and miss.
This is crazy. Is this just from Sunday? Okay. It proves everything. Go ahead. What are you saying?
Oh, I said eye test on the fact that I don't think that they threw at Gilmore more than like 3 times, it felt like.
Judd Football Focus is correct. So Byron Murphy was targeted 15 times in this game by Jordan Love.
Yeah, second half a lot.
And it wasn't terrible. It was 12 for 15. I mean, completion percentage, that's terrible. But It was 12 for 15. He did get hit a couple times on big passes. But he did pick off a pass, had a pass breakup. So 15 targets to Byron Murphy Jr. Stephon Gilmore, 3 targets. 1 for 3.
How about this guy right
here?
For
who's got 3 yards.
Yep. Don't throw at him.
1 for 3 for 3 yards.
I don't know if this gets broken down by those grades, but it felt like Murphy was largely targeted on purpose second half.
Yeah, I don't have first, second half
splits. That felt like
on
a halftime adjustment. Hey, number 7 might be a weak link. They definitely targeted him. The pick was nice, but that was sort of a bizarre play in which the safety was coming. The receiver didn't know it, so he didn't run the route as crisply as possible. And look, he punched the ball out once for a huge turnover. He got a pick. But that being said, it definitely looked like the Packers decided that he was going to be the target du jour in the second half.
Now, I know that we on Purple Daily, we took issue with Sam Darnold being the lowest graded Vikings offensive player yesterday, which, we already did that rant on the other show.
Sure.
So I just gave you the Byron Murphy Jr., Stephon Gilmore information, right? One of them was targeted 15 times. The other one targeted 3 times. One catch for 3 yards and 3 targets. Which one of those 2 players do you think had a better PFF grade?
Murphy.
Yep. Byron Murphy Jr. had a 74 PFF grade. Stephon Gilmore, 68. Dude, PFF is so valuable because it does give us information about things and players that you wouldn't see just watching on TV. But that's really hard to take seriously. You're telling me a guy that was picked on 15 times for 12 catches,
right,
100-plus yards,
right,
and a guy that was not even, like, he is so good that you don't even try him. There should be something built in.
Right.
If I don't try you, you get, like, bonus points or something. I don't know.
If you're a cornerback and you basically get no stats, that means they're not going near you.
Yeah. It's
not that you're not doing your job. Anyway, yes.
Crazy.
Ridiculous.
All right. Back to Judd.
Okay. The Vikings are 4-0, and TJ Hockenson isn't even back yet. So think about this. You have now because of the Addison injury, determined that you have 3 very viable receiving options, right? So now, because I think we talked about Jalen Naylor previously as well. He looked good in training camp, but can he stay healthy? Blah, blah, blah. He's done a great job. Now, he shouldn't catch punts, but that's fine. That's not his job. So you've got Jefferson, who is, I think, right now, the best wide receiver in the entire league. Addison, who on a lot of teams would be the 1 and probably among the best 2s in the entire league. And Naylor, and according to Schefter's reporting, his sources are telling him that actually Hockenson might come back for the Thursday night Rams game or the week after that. So he's saying, because he could practice starting this week, the window opens. He could technically come back for the Jets game, but that's in London. That turf is dicey. We don't know about that. So I think there's 0 chance that takes place. I thought that he might come back after the bye against Detroit. Schefter saying probably no, the Rams game 4 days after. Nonetheless, think about this. You are introducing a huge piece to the puzzle. Embarrassment of riches gets richer, right? And with the way that Darnold is playing, he has answered a lot of questions. Like the combination of Kevin O'Connell and Darnold. A lot of questions about how's this going to look? Are they going to be? And now you are going to go from a tight end core that's done a decent job, to one of the better pass catching tight ends in the entire league with a screen game now. And those 3 receivers, I mean, yes, there's only 1 ball, but I will go back to how the Packers came out in yesterday's game, which is we're sort of screwed. I mean, we got to double Jefferson, and if we don't, he's going to beat us, and ultimately he did. Or we got but then we can't take Jordan away, and then if we take Jordan away, Naylor's an option, and now you're going to have TJ Hockenson. It's going to be, I mean, Kevin O'Connell, the mad scientist. I can hear him cackling and Egan right now.
I mean, if the Vikings don't go 17-0, would you consider holding off on the Kevin O'Connell contract extension based on all the resources and weapons at his disposal? I might make him prove it again.
I'd give him a contract extension, but I'd probably cut his pay a little bit.
Sorry, you lost a couple games there in
Kevin,
November.
let's go to 500,000 and we'll give Flo $1 million. Is that okay with you? Are you cool with that, Kevin? Kevin?
I'm gonna go Gophers here. All right. My statement is, I hate blaming football losses on officiating, but come on, what are we doing here, guy? Why are you looking to call offsides on an onside kick? Unless a guy is supermaning his way 4 yards past the line of scrimmage on the kick, and you have to call it. Also, why is that not reviewable? Put a camera down the line. Don't blow the whistle, for one. That's such a dumb ticky-tack way for a football game to end. But number 2, if the whole world can see that it wasn't offsides 5 seconds after the play, we can't radio in from up above like the sky judge. And I think Mike Pereira was Mike Pereira was in the booth or doing the. Yeah. He's like, yeah, guys.
Studio Fox. Yeah.
5 seconds afterwards here, he's like, yeah, guys, that looked like he was onside. Looks like a major mistake here by the referees. Gophers had a chance to recover that thing, and were they down by 3, whatever it was? They had a chance to go in and win that game against Michigan. Mm-hmm. So, stop blowing whistles. Stop thinking that you're seeing something, officials.
don't fall down by 21 points in the third quarter, and then
Judd,
you don't need that.
They were supposed to get smoked in that game.
But that's still not.
What do you mean?
Still no excuse. Don't fall down 24-3.
Okay, programmatically, yes.
Their
this
first half
particular game on Saturday,
their first half was a disaster.
Judd,
A disaster.
yes, but like this team is not supposed to be able to play with Michigan. So to me, in a vacuum this season, huge credit that they were in that game at the very end.
I give them no credit. Play. Michigan's not that good. They're overrated by a ton.
Dude,
you fell down 24-3 because you shot yourself in the foot. I'm not blaming the
Michigan
officials.
has like 34 and 5-star recruits on their team still.
And they're not that good.
They don't have J.J. McCarthy.
Their quarterback is a running back.
Yeah, and they run the ball still down.
Think about all the mistakes that the Gophers could have cleaned up, and then you wouldn't have had to do that.
Where I will agree with you is programmatically, they should be in a spot where it's not a shock that you are playing with Michigan,
right?
You know, in their stadium, the Big House or whatever. But I just, when the game's on the line, hey, official guy, calm down. It's not your game to decide here. If it's something egregious, okay. But if it's bang bang, just let the play happen and see where it goes. I know you don't want to hear that because, you want PJ fired and stuff. And I don't PJ.
I don't want him fired. No. Don't put that on me. I've told you I've given up.
I wouldn't fight it. I wouldn't fight it if they.
I don't want him fired.
I think what I'm getting
cost you $26 million to fire him, so you're not going to do that.
I mean, I think what I'm kind of annoyed by, and I was all in the first 3 or 4 years, like, yeah, he's molding young men, whatever. It's kind of hokey and weird, but he's new age leadership guy, and I love that stuff. It's great. Mm-hmm. Now it just kind of feels hokey. It just kind of feels. It feels fake and more than it even did.
But still, you know what? You're not going to replace him with this great coach. Bear Bryant, Nick Saban ain't going to show up here. I am fine. Just clean up your mistakes.
Yeah.
Can I give a complete off the wall statement, like on fall, on the weather, on seasons,
sure.
Even here in the burbs? I'm gonna go down this path here on weekend statements. Can fall make up its mind? Can fall make up its mind? And this is why I have steadfast on the take that fall is very overrated, because I don't know what the hell the weather is going to be, and it can't make up its own mind. It is the person at the bar who doesn't know what they want, but it wants all the attention at the same time. I'm so sick of trying to figure out what type of weather we're gonna get in fall. It was the warmest September on record, and how this relates to me here in the burbs, it is great. We have a nice little pool down at like the condominium area. It's great, but they closed the thing on September 8th.
Oh yeah, Labor Day. Oh yeah,
on Labor Day.
That's a them
right?
problem.
And here's my these are two gripes in one.
Problem.
My suburban gripe is if you say you're closing the pool, okay, you're closing the pool. I want that thing drained on Monday. It is still up. There's still water in that pool.
Closed.
There's still everything looks to be. It's not turning green. It looks like it's still very well chlorined and heated and working. Maybe the heat's turned off, I guess. But if you're gonna close the pool, and we're experiencing the hottest September on record, which I believe is what it is in Minnesota this year. This was the hottest September we have ever had. Then keep that damn pool open so I can figure out what the hell I'm doing here with this warm weather.
Declan lives a miserable life. He's mad that it's 80 degrees in September and that the pool closed a few weeks early.
This is suburban gripe. This is my suburban
gripes. You're mad
gripes.
at the people that run the pool, not the weather. Like, they should keep it.
Well, I'm mad at the weather too.
Wait. Do you want it? So wait, you want the pool open? Well, then you want it to be 80 degrees, or do you want fall weather? What do you want?
Are you really sitting here and bitching about this weekend?
Yeah, this is very.
It rained all summer. Summer's the one that is vastly
Summer was an issue. I'm just saying.
This has been great.
If we're gonna do fall, let's do fall. I'm griping at the weather, and I'm griping also at the suburban community complex.
So you're saying if we're gonna do fall, do fall. But if we're not gonna do fall, at least wait for fall so I can go swimming.
We have spent a week in the 80s with no humidity. It's marvelous, and now it's gonna get chilly. That's marvelous. I'm not going to crap on, like, if it was raining constantly and crappy outside, then yeah. I mean, summer was awful. This to me has been a haven.
Boy, these are first world problems.
Summer was
These are first world problems.
But you know
with
what? Pool people, quit closing. You're right. Dawn buys the SLP Rec Pool Pass, right?
Yeah.
September 1st, we're closed.
Great pool.
Why are you people closed? Keep your damn pool. What else
Do you
are
ever
doing?
go? Do you go to the community
Hell
pool?
no, but she enjoys it.
Yeah, and I'm more of I'm not Mr. Water guy. I think we've talked about this before. I'm not I'm not going in the water, but I like the idea of sitting by the pool, jumping in if it gets a little too hot, and then getting right out of the pool. It's more of the environment than it is like the aspect of
It's the
swimming.
lifestyle.
It's the lifestyle.
You're a pool lifestyle guy.
Yes,
is what you're saying.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, well,
My
hopefully
weekend gripe.
Declan can get out of this traumatizing weather
I feel like
situation.
you're mad at your landlords and you're taking it out on God.
It's both. Both of them need to be held accountable. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, you go. You
Yes.
go with that.
Okay, back to Judd here.
My statement is this. Never ridicule the reckless speculation lifestyle. Never ridicule the reckless speculation lifestyle.
They all laughed.
Yep, they all laughed about
and cackled and
first was
snickered.
Kirk. Kirk's not going to leave. We'll have him.
Clickbait.
Jefferson will demand a trade. What's Score North going to do without Kirk Cousins? And then Kirk's gone. Oh, okay.
September was the biggest month in Purple Daily history, by the way.
End of last
Just so
season,
you guys
Wolves. Flagrant howls. Few of our shows. Hey, let's talk about the future of Karl-Anthony Towns. Why are you talking about his future? He's going nowhere. You guys, his contract, what typical clickbait Score North. Friday, I'm sitting at the ballgame with some friends. I'm in the stands, beer in hand.
Yep, I saw
behind home plate. Almost got drilled by a Willie Castro
You did.
foul ball. Very upsetting. I became scared. I'm never going again. And then I get a text from Declan, and then Phil. So it's my phone's going buzz, buzz. I'm
The
like,
texts
okay.
were holy bleep,
Yes.
oh my effing G.
Karl-Anthony Towns has been traded to the Knicks. Never sleep on the reckless speculation lifestyle because, ladies and gentlemen, when you do, it can come back to bite you.
Anything can happen at any time. Yeah, I think I'm excited for Judd's going to be at Wolves Media Day today. Kyle Tighe also flying in from the West Coast for a quick
Taggy.
trip. He's
He
coming
just
in.
flies.
He's
No, I know.
24
God
hours,
bless him.
man. He's
God
literally
bless him.
landing I think he landed 20 minutes ago.
He's flying in for Media Day. I love the guy.
He was texting me at 4 a.m. Pacific time, probably from his Uber to the airport, about he texted me about this Zodiac GM account on Twitter, which does football takes and predictions through the astrological signs.
Yes.
And how the Vikings, anyways, he's on the way to the
great.
Twin Cities.
It's all love.
I love this trade so much for so many reasons. And for all the people
You happy, Mackey?
up in their feelings over the weekend of how could they do Karl like this? So could they do Karl? First of all, Karl has made $200 million playing basketball. He's had a great 9 years in the NBA in terms of financial success. Yeah, he's been part of a mostly crappy organization that took off recently. But if Tim Connolly, the architect here, this isn't like a cash dumping move. They're still going to have the second highest payroll in the NBA in 2024-25, projected top 3 payroll next year. If Tim Connolly thought Karl-Anthony Towns was a key piece to a championship team, he does not make that trade 3 days before training camp. He doesn't. So, yeah, to Judd's point, you all laughed and mocked the reckless speculation lifestyle.
Don't do it. Don't do it next time.
We've seen too many crazy things.
Yep.
Seen too many Vikings trades, Timberwolves trades. Now, the good news for Cat is the last 2 multi-talented big men that the Wolves traded, Kevin Love and Kevin Garnett, not to put Garnett in the same sentence as the other guys here, they both went on to win championships with their new team, Celtics and then the Cleveland Cavs. So maybe Karl moves on to New York and rides Jalen Brunson and Tom Thibodeau to a championship. We'll see. Or maybe not. Or maybe it turns into a complete disaster. I got one more for sure. It's kind of a look ahead to the Vikings game against the Jets in London this weekend. But my statement is the Vikings are going to likely feast on a disgruntled disaster Jets team. And I don't know if you guys caught any of that thing yesterday, that abomination.
Yeah.
The game itself was a disaster for the Jets. So it's a home game, and it was kind of rainy and windy. I mean, you can still score points. You have permission to score points.
Yeah.
Bo Nix for the Broncos threw 25 passes for 60 yards. The Broncos scored 10 points, and they won against the Jets offense.
Yep.
And then after the game, you had this weird cadence controversy between Robert Saleh and Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
Because the Jets took 13 penalties in that game, 5 false start penalties. And Robert Saleh was asked about it after the game, and he said, I'm paraphrasing, yeah, I think maybe we have to just kind of back off on the complicated cadences, because Rodgers loves to do these hard counts and complicated cadences to get the defense to jump, get the free plays, right? And so maybe we have to back off on just some of the cadence work that we're doing. And a reporter brilliantly follows up with Rodgers at the podium and says, hey, Aaron. So Robert Saleh was just here 5 minutes ago, and he said that you guys need to maybe make it a little less complicated with these cadences so that you guys stop jumping off sides. And Rodgers goes, well, that would be one way to do it. Another way would be to hold the guys accountable who are committing penalties.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I think they hate each other.
Well, the sideline exchange during the Thursday night game against the Patriots, which much like Zim
Cousins
and Kirk, they tried to play down.
Oh, yeah, we're just...
was very frontal. I mean, something happened there that they both agreed that they would lie about. I think if the Vikings have their way with the Jets, I think Saleh might be fired on the plane ride home.
Oh, yeah, so maybe the Vikings... I legitimately
right?
think... I think it is.
For the Jets as well?
Yeah. So I don't want to get too far ahead here. You know, we're still recapping the Vikings-Packers stuff, but
I think he might be fired.
I would be shocked if the Jets against the Flores defense with the weird vibes between Saleh and Rodgers, if London was their breakout against the Vikings. So that's my take on it anyways.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Any other statements from you gentlemen?
I'm tapped out.
I'm good.
You're tapped out.
I'm exhausted.
Plenty more on Twins on the Score North Twins show, Purple Daily. We got, Flagrant Howl's 2 recap episodes from the weekend if you missed them. The first one was me on Friday night just processing the news solo for 25 minutes.
Just staring at the camera?
What's happening? And then Judd and I jumped on, did like 45 minutes yesterday or whatever it was. So those are available, and then we'll do another one, I think, later today on this Monday. Once you get back from Wolves Media Day. So, all right. Busy Monday across the Score North podcasts. And, we'll be back tomorrow with a scoop session with Doogie here on Minnesota Sports with Mackey and Judd and the Score North YouTube channel. We'll see you guys then.